He strikes, he declares victory, and then he leaves. In 2026, the global security architecture is facing a structural inversion. For decades, American power was defined by its presence, by the boots on the ground and the carrier strike groups that never left. But under the current administration, a new doctrine has emerged. It is not isolationism. It is tactical abandonment. From the borders of Eastern Europe to the thermal waters of the Persian Gulf, the world is learning that an American security guarantee is no longer a permanent shield. It is a transaction. And when the transaction is finished, the shield is retracted. The first signal came from Europe. The return of Donald Trump to the White House in 2025 brought a binary choice to NATO: pay 5% of GDP or stand alone. By early 2026, the psychological victory for the Kremlin was already complete. By questioning the fundamental validity of Article 5, Washington didn't just challenge a treaty. It fractured a 70-year-old alliance. The result? A Europe rearming in a state of controlled panic. Poland, Germany, and the Baltic states are now forced to build their own independent military depth. Trump didn't stay to fix NATO. He walked away, leaving a power vacuum that Russia is more than willing to test. Europe is no longer a protected province. It is a defensive island, forced to find its own strength. Then came the Middle East. Operation Epic Fury in February 2026 was a masterpiece of kinetic destruction. Iranian nuclear sites decimated, the Iranian Navy functionally erased, the missile stockpiles depleted. But as the dust settled, the contradiction became visible. Iran still controls the Strait of Hormuz. Even with a degraded military, the IRGC retains the leverage of the world's most critical oil choke point. Trump's response to the ongoing closure of the strait was surgical and cold. What happens in the strait, we're going to have nothing to do with. He declared victory because the visible targets were destroyed, but he walked away before the strategic objective, the freedom of navigation, was secured. Iran survived the storm, and now they hold the toll booth to the world's energy supply while the Americans fly home.
When a superpower disengages, its allies are forced into an impossible equation. The Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, spent decades building their defense around the American umbrella. Now, they face a reality where the shield is only extended for the duration of a strike, not for the duration of a peace. They are diversifying their alliances in real time, looking toward Beijing and Moscow for the stability Washington no longer guarantees. And then there is Israel. For the first time in modern history, Israel faces a dilemma where its primary strategic partner has completed the kinetic mission but abandoned the long-term containment. Minister Netanyahu's statement that Israel will safeguard its vital interests under all circumstances is a polite way of saying Israel is now fighting a multi-front war alone. The strategic depth provided by the United States has been replaced by a transaction that has already expired. This pattern is creating a global chain reaction. The world is moving towards self-reliance. The art of walking away has taught the world a hard lesson. presence is not a guarantee. Countries are no longer waiting for a carrier strike group to arrive. They are building their own denial networks. They are forming regional missile walls. They are preparing for a 2026 where the strongest player in the game might simply decide that enough is enough and leave the field before the final whistle. The final audit concludes, this is not a collapse of American power. It is a transformation. We are moving into a world where power is not defined by who is present, but by who is willing to remain when others leave. Donald Trump is an expert at starting the fire. He is even better at walking away while it is still burning.